Engine is assembled. Boiler is set up, ready to go in. Needs another coat of paint. It's coming. Huh? Lifting the hole in the top of the roof, finally, to drop the machinery in. 10 years in the making. One of the only times to have this view. Engine room is ready for machinery. You can see the drip pan made for the engine. Coupling my dad had cast at Sunset Foundry. Machined here at home. Hole is cut in roof. And removable section pulled out. Unbolted, and we'll bolt it back in once we're done and button it all up. There you go. Tom Loomis is here with his crane. It's all installed. The head will be there between the boiler and the back of the powerhouse. now it's a matter of doing the final alignment on the engine and boiler, getting them set level and true to their respective elements. It's been since 2004 the hull has been here working on the whole hull. So this is a long time coming.
So you recycle most of the water? Pretty much, yeah. And then you have to have some making part to always move it. Yeah. Drips and blowing the whistle.
September 6th, 2015. You got the Wayward Belle with her stack and smoke hood off. We have the Persistence with a stack on now. Chipping paint on the Persistence. There'll be lots of repainting to be done before launching and whilst she's in the water. Rudder getting ready to be welded together. You can see the flanking rudder and then the main rudder. It's about 3.5 by 3.5. Just a baby propeller there. And we have a Acme propeller shaft nut wrench. As you can see, another Acme precision tool, and demand the best. We have the hose set up and a sprinkler set up to cool the condenser. We ran it last weekend with some interesting developments. So, whistle made by Bruce Hepler out of an artillery shell. Needs to be tuned a little bit better where we need to move the mounts on the stack a little bit more so there's more room between the bell and the languid plate. Some firewood from last weekend. Fuel tank, day tank rather. We figure it's about almost 25 gallons through our scientific method of measuring, being fill it 5 gallons at a time. Temporary stack position, because we don't know how the boat's going to sit in the water quite yet, so we've left room for movement and adjusting the boiler so it's level and while riding in the water. See the engine room telegraph. and engine. Last time you guys watched, there was no engine or boiler in here. It was just big empty spot. So this is a big change. Putting links on the pump. Seen all auxiliaries, but now they're all plumbed. Last weekend we tried several different methods of getting steam up. Tried the propane weed burner, and then also just using wood, and then switching to steam atomizing to two York Williams style burners. Right there in the fire door and the gullet, there is a vaporizing kerosene burner that we'll mess about with next. And I got a fuel tank for it right there. That's been red flag warning past week or so here in South Lake Tahoe, so worried about any embers from wood firing. So I've been very cautious about that. Double the screen on the stack if we have any solid fuels burning. See the engine room telegraph on this side. Just uses a single trip gong that trips when you swing it full swing from left to right. So the day tank will be filled through that hose by this little pump right there from the main fuel tanks, which will be behind the engine under the rear deck over here. You can see the two white lines going left to right are the exhaust lines from all the pumps, as well as the generator. And the blue line comes from the condensate pump and pumps the steam-powered condensate pump, which is that one with the blue handle, and pumps condensate into the hot well. So last weekend we had a bit of a unwanted dismantling of parts, and involving the walking beam and linkage. So we had to use the steam condensate pump and steam feed pump to keep up water in the boiler.
We got to use them.
Got to use them. Yeah, I got to practice with steam auxiliaries.
Never would have used otherwise.
So. Detail and the little oilers my dad made for the various linkage and other items. It's a 45 caliber ACP casing that's been flared in a regular tubing flaring tool, and then it has a 1/16 inch brass tube soldered to the bottom of it.
16th or 8th? Looks like an 8th.
Yeah, you're right, an 8th. Got auxiliaries here, steam auxiliaries. And the piece de resistance, the main engine, Doty compound. Sitting on the starboard side of the boiler, the York water tube boiler. Hot well. Each steam line is color coded and goes to their respective auxiliary. And the auxiliary feed water lines are color coded, as well as the auxiliary condensate lines. Detail of the 10 feed drip oiler. A reservoir on top will be replaced with just a nice brass Lincolnheimer. In absence of a adequate oiler of reasonable price, we compensated, or not compensated, but fabricated rather, a nice drip feed oiler with needle valves and little quills so you can see the drip in each of the feeds and adjust accordingly. We haven't quite gotten the number of turns necessary down quite yet. And we find ourselves with puddles of oil some places and not so much other places. Green is main feed, yellow is auxiliary feed. Go up into the under the casing of the boiler into the economizer, out of the economizer to the right there, and into the steam drum. The red line there is an emergency bypass for the economizer. You open that bottom red valve there and close the valve right above it, and then it's a direct run straight into the boiler from the feed lines, and it completely bypasses the economizer. There's a flow indicator to show whether or not we're getting feed water into the boiler from the auxiliaries, or correction, the main feed pump. It's a very useful tool. I recommend it on any boat. If there's any question about feed getting from the pumps, at least to the economizer, you can see it right here. That the little wheel inside there spins when you have flow. Every steamboat should have it. Even though it's not an Acme product, we endorse it. Here you have a three-way valve. This is the forward end of the condenser. This is the pickup. You have a three-way valve. To the left, it goes to the condensate pump on the engine, and beneath me, it goes to the auxiliary steam power condensate pump.
And I'm going to turn the top over and watch that ram and see what it does.
Okay.
Sure doesn't bottom out.
We have a hand feed pump here for purging the entire feed system. Purging of air prior to running. It should only need to be used really once. every time you fill up the system with water. And then we have another hand feed pump over here, and that is the main hand feed pump for hydro testing and for filling the boiler. That squeal you hear is the cutlass bearing, rubber cutlass bearing. When we initially installed it, we lubricated with graphite, but you need to normally be running water through it to lubricate it.